All right, folks. What an unbelievable conversation I just had with my new friend, Cindra Kamphoff. Wow. You want to talk about leaning into confidence, leadership. She's worked with professional athletes, Olympians, just unbelievable advice. She's got a great new book out next week. You definitely want to go and get it. She's doing a Good Morning America this Saturday. I cannot wait for you to hear this amazing conversation with my new friend, Cindra. Welcome to Market Mavericks. I'm Matthew Efird. Join me as I speak with leaders who are redefining industries in every corner of the market. From startups to established businesses, we'll uncover the strategies, challenges, and insights that drive success. Get ready to be inspired by the Mavericks who are shaping the future of business. Welcome, everybody, to the Pillars of Purpose podcast, powered by Lighting Pros. I'm your host, Matthew Efird, and I'm so excited that a friend of the podcast, Bill Blanksheen, introduced me to Cindra Kamphoff. Cindra, I'm so excited for this conversation. Excuse me, Dr. Cindra Kamphoff. Just to be really clear, you worked really hard to earn that, so I apologize. But Cindra, you're a phenomenal writer and speaker, and you do incredible work around the world. So those who may not know you, welcome to the show. Thank you for your time. Introduce yourself. Tell us a little bit about the work that you do.
So I'm an entrepreneur myself. I have a company called the Mentally Strong Institute, where we help leaders and athletes and executives and entrepreneurs get to their goals quicker and increase their confidence. I'm a keynote speaker and a writer, like you said. So I'm a CEO, and I wrote my first book is called Beyond Grit, which covers 10 practices of high performance. So grit, Grit. And then I have another book coming out soon that you can already purchase and pre-order called The Confidence Habit. So my PhD is in performance psychology, and ultimately just what that means is I help people perform to their best.
So I've got a bunch of questions. Let me start with this one.
Okay.
When you say that you got your PhD in performance, when you're looking at that as a career path, is that something that you were exposed to as a young kid? Did you see that in your parents, in teachers? Like what is the path that gets Cindra there?
Awesome question. So when I was in high school, I played a lot of different sports, but what I was really talented at was cross country and track.
Okay.
And my mom bought me a Runner's World magazine, and it had a mind body section in there. That's the first article I would read. And my dad at the time was a VP of sales. So he would be teaching me like all of these psychology principles in sales that ended up helping me be a great, amazing college athlete. And so what's interesting, Matt, though, is like when I started my undergraduate degree and said I wanted to study sport and performance psychology, most people are like, that's not a career path. There's not, what are you going to do with it? But it's grown a lot. And I believe that I'm like one of the people who's helped grown it in terms of like in the United States. And I'm so glad I did it. So kind of my career evolved because at the beginning it was mostly just working in sport. And then about 10 years ago, I started keynote speaking, and then more business owners, entrepreneurs, when I would speak, would be like, hey, can you coach me? The same principles that elite athletes use to perform their best, we need to use as entrepreneurs too.
So you have
evolved from there.
You have a background in running, which I hate to run. I say it'll be a cold day in hell when I'm running, which I do run. But so you have that background, you have that grit with your first book. You understand that at a level that a lot of people do not. How does that help? Like, what is the process? What is the pathway to get you from college as a college athlete into the professional sports world where you're working in that arena? Because you don't just step into that. Like, what was that process like?
For me, I took a job right after I finished my PhD as a college professor, and I started working with their college sports teams.
Okay.
And I developed this niche in football. I still do a lot of work in football every fall, work with several like elite college teams, but that allowed me to have this like expertise in football. And that allowed me to start my career, I spent 4 years working with the Minnesota Vikings as their mental performance coach.
Yeah, cool.
And I've worked with the United States track and field team and lots of other professional athletes. But it's kind of getting started, from the ground up, and you don't just like land in professional sport
Sure.
right away,
Sure.
right? You got to get incredible reps so that you get really incredible at your craft. And that's what I did just working in high school and college sports for a long time.
And so when you're working at that level, so when you're
Hmm.
working with the US track and field, I mean, is that on path for the Olympics?
Yes.
Okay, so you're
Yeah.
working with folks that are working at least 4 years, a lot more than 4 years, but they're
Yes.
dedicating 4 years for a moment in time. What are
Hmm.
you doing? What is the process that you're bringing them to? Obviously, we can't go into all of it. Is there anything
Right.
high level that you're like, hey, this is kind of always step one when I'm working with an entrepreneur that I learned to do with the football team, with the track and field? Can you help me understand that?
Sure. So mental performance work is really like teaching you tools and strategies to train your mind to work on purpose. And
Okay,
so when I think about my first book, Beyond Grit, there's 10 practices in the book. One of them is actually grit. So usually the first conversation I have with someone who's a coaching client, if it's an entrepreneur or an elite athlete, it is about grit. Like, and grit means having passion,
yeah,
purpose, connection, dedication to your long-term goals. And so the first thing I would do is get clarity on what do you actually want and why do you want to get there? And then what are, the barriers that are in your way mentally to get there? Because what's interesting, Matt, is, as somebody who's worked in 20 plus years with entrepreneurs and elite athletes, there's nobody I know that doesn't sometimes lack confidence and
sure,
sometimes doesn't question themselves.
sure,
So I think what coaching does is it gives you like a confidant to help you, be able to confidentially talk with somebody with, how you're struggling.
sure.
Because it's never perfect, and we all face setbacks, and we all want to get to our goals quicker. Hmm.
Love that. And so you get to this perspective of you're getting to speak. You have this incredible platform that you've created with all of this amazing work. You're getting to keynote, and then you have high power CEOs coming to you, big organizations, and like, hey, will you personally coach me? Is that
Hmm.
a daunting feeling when you first get that ask, or does it feel very natural?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, of course. The correlation between athletics and entrepreneurship is very close. What was that process like?
I think now at my career, I just signed a new CEO last week actually, who has a company of 8,500
Wow,
employees. And
it's
at this
amazing.
point, it's, for me, it's like I've been doing it for a long time and I know
Sure,
what my expertise is and I know how I can help them. And so many people like deal with stress and anxiety, and they don't have somebody that they can say, hey, this is what I'm struggling with, or right now, man, I need to level up my game because I'm signing a new contract, or I
sure.
really need to be on top of it minute after minute and after minute. I need to learn and absorb all the things that I can. So I think what a great coach does is helps you live on purpose. Helps you do. My second step actually would be like, what is your purpose? How does your purpose connect to your goals? And
I love that.
step two in Beyond Grit is helping them identify what their purpose is. And the exercise I lead people through is 4 questions, and it's, you know, tell me about your best. Um,
Okay.
tell me, because your best really helps you understand like what allows you to thrive. Um, why do you do what you do? So what good comes from the work that you do? And who do you serve? Who are the people that you really want to be most connected with?
I love
And
that.
I think those 3 questions are really at the heart of someone's purpose. And by the way, Matt, understood my purpose in a really hard moment.
Okay. Will you mind sharing that?
Sure. I would say I had 2 kind of crucible moments,
Okay.
and those are to me defined as like life-changing moments.
Sure.
Usually, crucible moments are difficult,
Sure.
but my first crucible moment happened when I was in college. So I was a really high-level high school athlete,
Okay.
and then in college was when I really struggled with my own mindset. And I thought, honestly, Matt, the kind of way to get ahead was to beat myself up. I didn't realize the power of self compassion. And so
Okay.
that's what led me to the field of performance psychology. But second thing happened in 2013. I was running the Boston Marathon. And if you remember what
Wow.
happened that year,
Yeah, I sure do.
yeah, I
Wow.
had just finished the race and I was a block away. with my husband, and that's when the bombs went off. And Matt, it's really hard to explain what that day was like. Besides, I didn't know if I was going to get home. I didn't think
Sure.
I was going to see my kids again.
Sure.
There was rumors that there was multiple bombs along the finish line, and literally, I thought this was going to be the last day of my life. And what's interesting, even though I had trained, 6 months for this race, my race actually really didn't matter. What mattered most was my family. And
Sure.
then second was my calling and my passion.
Yeah, cool.
And as I really tried to unpack that, and I think of like finding your purpose as like a layer of onions, like an onion that has lots of different
Sure.
layers.
Sure.
And it takes intention, it takes purpose, it takes reflection. And over the next couple months, I did get home. There was not a bomb in our hotel, but it was like just reflecting and reading books and reading articles about purpose. And I realized at the time of the Boston Marathon that I was playing small, that I knew that I had more inside me. I wanted to write a book. I wanted to work for the Vikings, but play football, you know.
Sure.
so so I just started making, after that day, I just every day just started to do something that was just a little bit courageous.
I
And if you
love
take
that.
one step a little bit courageous, I think that's how you understand what your purpose is and helps you uncover that purpose.
You say you a courageous step. You want to kind of peel back that onion. Can you give us an example? Like, what does that look like? Somebody hears that and they're like, I gotta go start a business. I gotta go whatever XYZ. Can you give us maybe a couple of practical steps?
I think so many times when people are just getting started with a business, it's so overwhelming. It's such a huge outcome goal, and you need to break it down. So
Okay.
that might be okay, first, deciding what the name of your business is, what are the services or products you're going to provide, registering your company as an LLC, starting a website. All those things, Matt, are so scary. And the thing is that the feeling of confidence doesn't come before the action. The action
Yeah,
of
let's
confidence
go.
comes
Okay.
first.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And what I mean by that is that we all wait, lots of people wait to feel confident.
Yeah.
When you're really taking courageous steps to grow your business, you're not going to feel 100% confident all the time.
Yeah.
Feelings come and go, and don't confuse the feeling of confidence with the belief in yourself.
I
And you
love
can
that.
take action regardless of how you feel. And
Yeah.
that's something I want everyone to write down. I can take action regardless of how I feel. For me right now, Matt, I'm growing and scaling my business. And I have this new book coming out called The Confidence Habit. We have a huge goal of making it on the New York Times list.
Let's
It's also a
go.
national bestseller.
Let's go.
But you know what, Matt? It feels sometimes overwhelming. And I have to take a step back and say, what's, one thing I can do today to sell more books?
Sure.
What's one person I can reach out to that I know needs the message in this book, or one company? And so we get so overwhelmed by these outcome goals, and outcome goals are out of your control. You can't control who buys your
Sure.
stuff, or
Sure.
your project or your services. So you have to stay focused on what you can control. And that's just the process goals, the little steps you can take today. And of course, you're going to be scared, but that it should not hold you back and will not hold you back.
I love that. Wow. That was awesome. So let's take a step back, Cinder, if you don't mind. You talk about
Hmm.
purpose. You talk about helping people find that.
Hmm.
Are there any kind of go-to questions that you have that help people go a surface level deeper? Right? Because I'm sure that myself included, there are people that somebody asks you that question, you can give a real surface level answer. That's easy to do. It's harder to sit with our own thoughts and to get deeper and to go into that place of like, no, this is what drives me. This is
Hmm.
what I was designed to do. This is what
Hmm.
fuels me. Is there any, do you have a process? Do
Sure.
you have
Hmm.
a offering that you would have that can help
Yep.
our audience kind of get a little bit deeper from that perspective?
Yeah, absolutely. So in Beyond Grit, I have this exercise in the workbook where I help people identify their purpose statement, and I
Okay.
ask them to really answer three questions,
Okay.
and then a fourth one if they're ready to do that. And so question one is, tell me what three words that would describe you at your best. And
Okay.
that's a really important question because you get to better understand like what makes you thrive, what makes you tick. And by the way, right, this purpose statement is your inner guide, and you need to write a purpose statement so
Yeah.
that you don't forget it and you can use it as like your North Star.
Sure.
Number two is, what do I want to create or do for myself and others? So, what is it that you want to do? For me, I think my uniqueness is I provide tangible tools. So, tools, and honestly, mostly Matt, because when I was stuck, I didn't have those tools. So,
Sure.
I want people
Yeah.
to have like
Sure.
this toolkit. And that's what the confidence habit is. This, my upcoming book is like a toolkit. Third question: what is the result or value I provide? So, how do you serve others? And then the last question is, who do you want to help or guide and inspire? And what's amazing is, I do this exercise in groups of like 300, 500 people,
Sure.
and nobody's purpose statement is the same,
Yeah.
because you have unique strengths, you have unique values, you have unique gifts that no one else does, right?
Yeah.
You have unique goals. And so there's no one else in this world like you, no one else that can serve the world like you can, the way that
Amen.
you can,
Yeah.
I want to say that again. No one else can serve the world the way that you can, in all the possible venues and avenues and strengths. And, for me, when I was starting my career, Matt, I heard people say something similar, but I didn't quite get it. And now, as I better understand my strengths, my unique like experiences to get here, and I think about like even the Confidence Habit book. No one else could write that book the way that I wrote that
Sure.
book, because
Yeah.
I have
Sure.
these unique experiences and unique clients that no one else has, and this unique kind of perspective of confidence and how to build it,
I
right?
love that.
And so, that's just me, that I want everyone else to also think about that for them. Like, what are your strengths? What are your gifts? What can you provide that no one else can in the world? And I think that helps you peel back that layers of an onion. When I have people write the answers to those four questions,
Okay.
and then their answers, they take the most important things from those four questions, and then they put it into a statement.
Okay.
And the reason I did this, Matt, is because when I was at the Boston Marathon and I came back, I had all these questions about my purpose. And
Sure.
I was reading about the power of purpose, but I didn't understand how to write it. So I try to help people write a first draft. And so ultimately, that's what you do: is you'd start with something like, the purpose of my life is to blank. Put the first couple of answers to that first question in that first blank.
Okay.
What are three words that describe me at my best? And then the next part would be two. All right, put after two, right? What do you want to do or create for yourself or others? And then the third blank is, what result or value to provide. Write a little bit about that. And then, who's it for, right? So for, and then write, who do you want to inspire and guide. And when you have that kind of structure, it gives you a first draft. It
Yeah.
doesn't have to be what you land on, but
Sure.
I think, Matt, like, people, even when I see this in the workshops I provide, people think that like purpose should be like this download from like a
Yeah.
higher
Sure.
being,
Yeah.
and they get really overwhelmed, and like it's like, where do I even start? So write a first draft, put it on a sticky note on your bathroom mirror, then rewrite it kind of based on, what you love, what you don't love. And I think my purpose, obviously, I've thought a lot about this, Matt, but if I could say it in one word, it's like, or one statement, it would be like, to be authentic,
Okay.
to live with a service mindset,
Okay.
and to help people play bigger with tangible tools.
I
And
love
as I
that.
say that, I know that's exactly why I'm here.
Sure.
And so eventually you want to get to a place where you have a statement that you can say yes to things and no to things, and you can use it to really be your guide and your compass.
I love I love so much about it because again, we get stuck often, especially as
Uh-huh.
entrepreneurs. We get stuck in paralysis by analysis, right? That
Yes.
we want it to be perfect, and nothing's ever truly perfect. But we get into this kind of loop of, well, it's not good enough, so I'm just going to kind of wait, or I'm not going to do
Yes.
something. I'm not going to move forward in action. And then I love the perspective that you use this as, this is the lens at which I'm going to view future opportunities, because future
Yes.
opportunities are coming. And if we want to be good stewards of our time, which is one of our
Hmm.
truly greatest resources, it's the only non-renewable resource, is our
It's
time.
true.
That what can we do? Well, we can have this statement that
Mhm.
you've helped us craft. We can have this as our North Star, as the thing
Mhm.
that helps align and make the decisions easier for us. Because
Mhm.
when the heartstrings are tugged, when you get an opportunity to go for another career or maybe a speaking opportunity, whatever it may be, that you can say, does this align with what I feel called to do, that I was put
Mhm.
here to do, that I'm uniquely gifted and called to do? I love that perspective. So, Cindra,
Yeah.
when you get into your new book, New York Times
Yeah.
bestseller, it's going to be awesome. I look forward to
Thank
celebrating
you.
that with you when it comes. Um, when you're writing that book, obviously you're working with some amazing people around the country I don't want you to name names, please don't, because it would be really cool to hear those. Maybe we can tell some offline. But from the perspective of you work with some household names, right? You
Yes.
get to see them at their best and oftentimes at their worst. And so you get to write this book about confidence with a really unique perspective on confidence, on people that are
Mhm.
performing at a very high level on very big stages. And sometimes they have a lot of confidence and a lot of times they don't. Obviously, you talk about that we move forward before we actually believe it. I love that. That moving that that's where confidence comes from. What is something that we can do for ourselves as leaders when we feel like the self-doubt is creeping in? Is there a mantra? Is there a practice? Is there something that we
Mhm.
can do to help fight off that in our lives?
Sure. Okay. So, the confidence habit covers these 7 practices of growing confidence. And the point is that it is a habit. It's also a feeling and a belief, but it's a habit that you have to keep creating. And
Yeah.
we all experience setbacks. Let's say you lose a big client and you have to be able to pick yourself back up. So I think a misconception of confidence is, Matt, that like once you have it, you're always going to have it, or that elites
Yeah.
don't struggle with confidence, or the best entrepreneurs don't question themselves. But doubt is part of the human experience. And one of my practices, actually, it's practice number 1, is called
Okay.
it is craft your inner coach. And what this means is you have to pay attention to those automatic negative thoughts. Most of your thoughts are automatic. And
Sure.
one of the tools that I teach in the craft your inner coach is something called the truth meter,
Okay.
and it's a tool that you can use. By the way, each chapter has multiple tools. Okay,
Nice.
given my
Let's
life's
go.
purpose.
Let's
Yep.
go.
um, but the truth meter is 3 quick questions you can ask yourself when you experience an automatic negative thought, a thought you don't choose. Number 1, is that true? And usually when I do the truth meter with people, sometimes people will say, well, yeah, it might be true. It may not be. Okay.
Yeah.
Number 2, is that serving you? And usually it is not serving you. It's not serving you at your highest level, helping you live your purpose. And then number 3 is, what would be a more empowering thought you could choose right now?
Wow.
And I think that is powerful because you can always choose a new thought. And sometimes, Matt, our brain is programmed for negativity over
Okay.
positivity. So
Okay.
it's always looking for the danger, what's wrong.
Sure.
And as entrepreneurs, that can be a problem because we're always looking for the risks or the
Sure.
things, the things that may not work out. So I usually tell people to write these 3 things out. Literally write it out. What's the automatic negative thought? Mine is right now is like, I don't know, is this going to be able to be a New York Times bestseller?
Sure.
Right? And it's
Sure.
like, is that true?
Yeah.
Well, I know what I need to do to make it happen, you know? So I don't think it's true. I think the book is powerful enough that it's going to get to the right people and people are going to love it.
Cool.
So is that serving me? No, because it's holding me back. It's creating tension and doubt and pressure. So, what is a more empowering thought I could choose right now? It's like I can take one step closer to my goal. And again, that sometimes those outcome goals are so huge, it creates so much pressure and anxiety. What is the next step? And usually that empowering thought can be, obviously what is the truth, and your purpose knows the truth. Your heart knows the truth.
I love that. I love that. And I love the perspective of this is a habit, right? This is
Yes.
something that we continue to massage and learn and grow in, that we can fall into and out of habits, that we can have periods in our life that we're regular at the gym, and then we can fall out of the habit of going to the gym. Going back to the gym is really painful, right? When you've had a season
Yeah.
of being out, but it's the right thing to do, and it's the same with this, that we're have seasons. I love that perspective. So when you're coaching an entrepreneur, when you're coaching, so again, we got a lot of small business owners that listen to this, that they're trying to say, how do I transfer this down to my team? I want to lead
Okay.
with confidence, but I also want to transfer this down to my team to help
Hmm.
empower them to
Cool.
mature and to grow. What advice would you have for that leader that's trying to help communicate this down to the rest of the team?
So great question. You play a really central role in your team's confidence. And we did a national research study last year where we surveyed people all over the United States about this topic of confidence. And we found, by the way, that two-thirds of people believe we're in a confidence crisis in America today. And
Wow.
we found
Wow.
1 in 2 Gen Zers ages 18 to 29, and 1 in 2 young millennials, 30 to 35,
Okay.
1 in 2 consistently or frequently feel like they're not enough. So you play an essential role in helping build confidence. And confidence isn't just a personal issue, it's an organizational issue,
Okay.
meaning there's a return on investment when you help your people be more confident.
Yeah. It's a great
There's
point.
higher productivity, better culture. And, culture is the sum of confidence, the sum of people's confidence. Actually, our research study found that there's even an increase in revenue when people are more confident. So we found in our study, Matt, and by the way, you can get our study at confidencetools.com.
Confidencetools.com. So if you
Yep.
forget that, that's in the show notes. Just so everybody remembers, it's in the show notes. Confidencetools.com. Okay.
Yes, we found 5 actions leaders do that kill confidence. I
Okay.
would like to share them with you.
You please.
Number 1, they provide a lack of direction and support. Number 2, they fail to recognize accomplishments. Number 3, they don't show empathy or understanding, particularly if people come to them with concerns. Number 4 is when they're unresponsive to concerns. And number 5 is they create a culture of fear where you can't take risks. And so, being able to help your people move on quickly, I can talk about how to do that in a second, Matt, but that is key to creating a culture where people thrive. 5 actions that leaders can take that accelerate confidence. They help set achievable stretch goals, goals that are going to push them. They help recognize accomplishments, celebrating these small wins. They offer opportunities for learning and development. They help embrace failures and they model authenticity and not having all the answers. So
Excellent.
those are some of the things that you can do to help you as a leader grow confidence, because when your people are more confident, they're going to go after their goals quicker and they're going to take more risks in a good way, and they're going to share their voice more, and they're going to not hold themselves back.
It's amazing the perspective, and I love that. I love the study that you've had, actually analytical data, right? That it's not just this is what Cindra thinks. No, this is what the data shows, which is super valuable for us to see. But I love the perspective of, if we're trying to create organizations that make an impact on the world, like,
Hmm.
I believe unapologetically that good business can change the world. I just believe that. And this is something that's so key in that, right? If we're trying to create organizations that make an impact, we've got to have leaders. We've got to have
Yes.
people that are leading, that they're leading boldly and courageously, that they're going places that have never been gone, right? We've got to, as leaders, empower them to do that. So you said earlier that we help them move on quicker. What do you mean by that?
Yeah. So, practice number 2 in the confidence habit is clear your past.
Okay.
And this is the one I find that most people struggle with.
Okay.
And this is entrepreneurs, elite athletes, CEOs, it doesn't matter. And, when I'm speaking, I just spoke earlier today to some bankers.
Okay.
And I asked them, raise your hand if you would describe yourself as an overthinker. And to be honest, Matt, like 90% of the room raises their hand,
Wow.
because most high achievers are overthinkers. And then
Wow.
honestly, the last 10% were just overthinking if they should raise their hand. you know,
I
but
love it.
yeah, I have this tool called Learn, Burn, Return.
Okay.
That is a tool I wrote about in the Clear Your Past. And
Okay.
I was working with an NFL player named Adam Thielen a couple years
Oh
ago,
yeah.
and he wrote about this, and he talked about this in an ESPN article. So I'm not over disclosing, or
Sure.
I can say it when he said it, but he used it during a playoff game where the Minnesota Vikings were playing the Saints. And he went over to the sidelines after he fumbled and he pretended to flush a toilet by putting his kind of fist right here, kind of near his cheek and pushing it down. No one knew exactly what he was doing besides I knew, because I taught him learn, burn, return. And afterwards, this ESPN reporter um, wrote about it. And the next day, the headline in ESPN was "Mental Performance Coach Taught Vikings Adam Thielen to Flush Away His Mistakes." And I'm like, that's how I get
uh,
headline in ESPN,
let's
flushing a toilet.
go flush that toilet.
Yeah, yeah.
Flush it.
But here's the steps. And I use this 4, 5, 6 times a day as an
Okay.
entrepreneur.
Okay.
Okay, let's say I have an inquiry call. They decide not to hire me. Let's say I have a conflict with an employee. I have to have a really tough conversation. And man,
Sure.
it didn't go exactly the way I wanted. Or for me, it's like I didn't say things exactly as crisp as I wanted on stage.
Sure.
Okay. So, first step is to learn. Ask yourself, what would you do differently next time? And that next time is so important because you can't do anything about what happened 5 minutes ago or 5 months ago or 5 years ago.
Sure.
So take the lesson. Remember, you are not the mistake. Mistakes are an event, never who we are. So you want
I
to
love
just try
that.
to think objectively about it and just, okay, well, what would I do differently next time? Having a little bit easier going approach. And then burn. Burn means that after you've taken the lesson, literally write it out if you need to. Then you need an action or a phrase to burn it, to let it go. And so what Adam was doing is he pretended to flush a toilet. Mine, by the way, Matt, is just a snap and a that fast.
I love it.
All right, I'm moving on.
Yeah.
And then, so just choose the same phrase or action. When you choose the same phrase or action every time, that strengthens a new neural pathway.
Okay.
So you're less likely to overthink.
Okay.
I call myself a recovering overthinker.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. I
And
like
then
it.
return means build yourself back up. Tell yourself, this is my passion. This is my purpose. This is what I'm meant to do. And so many times, Matt, people kind of in this learn, burn, return cycle, I think about it as a circle. Most people kind of get stuck in the learn, they learn, they learn, they learn, they overprocess, they ruminate, they ruminate. They don't intentionally burn and then return,
Okay.
right? And so that's so important to protect your confidence. And you need to take risks as an entrepreneur. You can't hold yourself back. Your energy, your confidence is contagious,
Yeah.
whether you lack it or whether you have
Yeah.
it,
Amen.
right? And so I can see that in my own company. When I really truly believe in an idea or believe we're going to hit a goal, we're more likely to hit it because I've said this is what we're going to do and this is why we're going to do it.
Yeah. Uh, what I love that part of your personal statement is that you use practical tools, right? Because
Mm-hmm.
you're taking the knowledge base that you have and all of the experiences you have with all these amazing people all over the country, and then you're giving us very practical things of learn, burn, and return. And I will definitely be using that. That's definitely going to be in the show notes.
Awesome.
We will definitely be talking about that more. Cindra, thank you for your time. You've been incredibly generous with it. So excited to get your new book. Again, remind us the title, where people can get it, and please do not give out a cell phone number. But how does somebody get connected to you? How do they follow along with your journey? How do they hire you to come in and consult with their organization? Or if they've got a keynote speech that they need, how do they get connected to you?
Awesome. Great question, Matt. So the book title is called The Confidence Habit: 7 Core Practices to Transform Self-Doubt to Self-Belief. You can get it anywhere that you can get books. You can already order it right now, like on Amazon. We have a really cool website called it's called confidencetools.com. And there's over $500 of bonuses you can get just by getting the book. You can get all these summits we did and a really amazing workbook and all the stuff. And you can find me on confidencetools.com or Dr. Cindra, DrCindra. I love Instagram and LinkedIn. So, that's also where you can check out what I'm up to there.
I love it. Cindra, you've been quite a pleasure to have. Thank you for the work that you're doing. Thank you for the way that you're impacting everybody. It's quite inspiring. So thank you for the work.
Thank you, Matt.
For the book. Thank you everybody for joining us today on the Pillars of Purpose podcast. We'll see you soon. Thank you for joining us on this episode of Market Mavericks. We hope you're walking away inspired and ready to take your own adventure to the next level. Don't forget to follow the show to keep up with our latest episodes. And if you enjoyed today's conversation, make sure to subscribe, share it with others who could benefit. And hey, if you know a market maverick who has a story that needs to be heard, please drop their name in the comments. We would love to bring their insights to the show. Until next time, keep pushing boundaries and leading with purpose.